Hi, I'm Roger, a gadget guy, and this is the room where I like to watch TV or listen to music. Now, when I first moved into this house and just had a few chairs and a rug down here, the sound quality in this room was absolutely terrible. To give you an idea of what I'm talking about, this is the sound in a different room that is fully furnished, but hasn't had the same kind of attention paid to the way the room sounds. So I'm back in my family room using the same microphone, and you can tell that the sound is so much clearer thanks to a few simple changes I've made to the room. Let's get started with some basic information about sound. Sound is a disturbance in the air that jiggles our eardrums in a way that our brains pick up and perceive as sound. Sound travels in waves away from a vibrating object, in the same way that water waves travel away from a splash in a pond. To understand how a sound wave interacts with the room and all the objects in it, you have to know how big it is. Let's look at the range of sounds that a piano can make and how big those waves are. On the right side of the keyboard are the high notes. The highest note on a piano keyboard has a wave that's about 3¼ inches long, but that isn't the highest sound that comes from a piano. The harmonics of the note that you play give the sound the character that you recognize as a piano, and the shortest of these waves is less than 1 inch long. On the left side of the keyboard are the low notes. The sound from the lowest note on the keyboard is 41 feet long, which fits fine inside a concert hall, but is very big on the scale of a living room. These big sound waves get exaggerated in a room when they fit into the length, the height, or the width of the room an exact number of times. And what this does is it makes it very hard to understand speech, especially male speech. And on music, you can get a very unpleasant boominess. So what you want to try and do is to make the room look very odd-shaped to the sound waves, so that instead of 3 dominant dimensions, you have many smaller ones. And the way you do this is with furniture. Hard furniture, like cabinets and coffee tables, reflects the sound before it can hit the wall or the floor, and makes the room look smaller for any sound wave that bounces off them. Soft furniture slows down sound waves, so the room will look very slightly larger for any sound wave that passes through a large, well-stuffed sofa. Because we're trying to control very large sound waves, it's only big pieces of furniture that are going to make a difference to these waves. The position of furniture can make a difference, so it's worth trying moving things around until you get it right. This chair that looks like a giant beanbag is actually filled with chunks of memory foam. It's a very comfortable chair, and it also unzips to form a queen-size bed, which is also very comfortable. And when it's pushed into a corner, it really does help to manage the boominess in this room. Now that we have the low-end sounds under control, let's take a look at the shorter wavelengths. These are the sound waves that correspond to the rightmost third of the piano keyboard and the harmonics of all the notes. And the way these sounds cause a problem is when the sound bounces off the walls multiple times. And in a big room, like a gymnasium, you might hear a distinct echo. But as the room gets smaller and smaller and smaller, you hear the first bounce, the second bounce, the third bounce happening in such quick succession that you can't distinguish between them. And it just creates a general smearing of the sound. And this makes it much harder for you to understand vocals because the words kind of run together. And in music, the instruments aren't clearly separated from each other. Now let's look at what I've done to this room to cut down on sound reflections. First, large soft furniture that reduces the low-end boominess also helps with higher frequency reflections. But it's not enough by itself, because the hard flat walls are still exposed in the top 2/3 of the room, and we have to do something about the floor. Rugs or carpet on the floor really help, but they need to be thick. The thickest felt underlay you can find is essential, and a thick shag pile works the best. I have placed large acoustic panels on the walls. You can buy panels with fabric or artistic coverings, but I chose to make my own panels using prints and oil paintings that my wife and I picked out. I have a video that I will link to at the end, which shows you how to make this kind of art work as acoustic panels. Now everyone knows that your own voice sounds better in the shower, and that's because a little reverberation can be a good thing. So if your room starts to sound too dead and your audio is kind of flat and lifeless, you can use sound diffusers like these instead of absorbing panels. They break up and spread the sound waves and make the room sound larger than it is. Bookshelves filled with books are excellent sound diffusers. I also placed pre-made, purchased acoustic panels directly behind the speakers, and that is a segue to the last topic. The last topic is very important. It may be the most important. And it happens when a sound wave bounces off a surface just once before it reaches your ear. And the distance it travels is very close to the distance of the direct sound from the speaker. And the difference in the distance traveled between those two waves may be comparable in size to a wavelength that's in the range of human speech or vocals. When those two waves meet at your ear, they interfere with each other in a very destructive way that can make an expensive speaker sound like a cheap speaker. The most harmful surfaces to worry about for this kind of reflection are the floor and any walls that are within about 3 feet of the speakers. The first thing to address is the floor. And for this topic, the placement of a rug is important. A nice thick rug that covers the area halfway between each speaker and the listener is what you need. If your speakers have to be close to the wall behind them, good quality acoustic panels can make a big difference. This step is not necessary for speakers designed to be mounted on the wall or those that are built into the wall. For the side walls, you can use carefully placed acoustic panels, but in this room, I chose to use furniture placed so that it blocks the reflected wave but not the direct sound. Individual changes may make a barely perceptible difference by themselves, but in combination and with some experimentation, the results can be truly spectacular. And the transformation in sound that I got was achieved without buying any new equipment. If you like this video, give me a thumbs up and subscribe to my channel. If you buy anything through the links that I put in the description, I receive a small commission. It doesn't cost you any more, but it really helps to support this channel and is greatly appreciated. A link to the video showing you how to make your own acoustic panels using artwork is here. Thanks for watching.